hear us but can't see us. Hey.
I got some adrenaline. Right here. Hello, everybody. We've been watching you in the comments this morning or evening or afternoon, wherever you are.
Wherever you are, we've been watching you.
Okay, we're going to give people...
That's the energy I'm going to bring. It's just weird and staring. Yeah.
We're going to give people just a couple minutes to come in and get settled in. As we do, Tom, for people who are new here, you want to kind of tell them what they're doing here? What is a wormhole?
What is a wormhole?
What is a wormhole? And I've also...
Is it safe?
And I've seen in the comments, can it be measured? Can you measure a wormhole?
Are there worms involved?
You can measure it, but not in ways that can be written down or explained with words. It's more of an emotional measurement.
So what is it? What is a wormhole?
The wormhole is our live stream event where we do news and drop new releases. We try to have a few of them a year. We don't overdo it so that every one of them is super meaningful, has big stuff happen in it, and you don't want to miss them. If we don't have anything really potent to bring, we will not have one of these events. So you can rest assured if we're doing this, because it's a lot of work, it is worth our time and your time. Yeah, and we like, there's something about releasing things to the world in a sort of community event, as opposed to just like, hey, stuff's on the website, says our email. That's just not really in line with our heart.
No.
So that's what we're doing.
It's too fun to just gather here together and actually get to talk to you all. It's my absolute favorite thing is being here at Wormhole events. And you can see on the couch right now, we have me, we've got Malia, we've got Tom, we've got Jared. We're going to have a lot of people throughout the Wormhole today. We'll be bringing people in and out of the couch.
Wormholes are volatile.
Wormholes are volatile, okay? Mm-hmm. Anything else about what the wormhole is that you want to go over before I move into the next topic?
Yeah, topic.
Give me a break.
Feel free to keep doing that. We like that. The only other thing I can think of is there are a number of new releases in this wormhole that will be available on orangenebula.com. All of them are limited in the sense that most of them are already ordered, where we've already done print runs, they're in manufacturing. A lot of them are going to be a pre-order, but we've already punched in the numbers and they're going. So there is a chance that things will sell out. We actively try to order enough that we don't think we're going to sell out like that day. It has happened. We don't always get it right. There's always a chance we can make more of something if it feels like demand is high enough, but we can't promise it. So all we promise in these events is that we have good intentions. There, it's who knows what's going to happen.
I already see the comment, what page do we need to crash to buy stuff today? So.
If the website, which is brand new, doesn't crash today, it will be the first time.
Yes.
World record.
World record of not crashing.
Okay, so I know that a lot of you are here because our big kind of headliner for the day is, what is it?
Spirit
Fire! Okay, so...
That is a lot of morning energy.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that a lot of you are here, but we have so much other stuff that we want to talk about too, okay? We've got other things we want to show you, but I'm not going to just make you wait so long to see anything about Spirit Fire. So I'd love to give you just a little taste of some of the stuff we've been working on, a little bit of behind the scenes look. So Justin, if you can cue up the teaser for everybody, let's see Spirit Fire.
Spiritfire feels like the game we were born to make.
The way it's pieced together, it's just, I can't think of anything quite like it.
In a lot of ways, it feels like a culmination and distillation of everything that we've done before as a studio, as creatives, and just as people.
Oh, I just feel made for it.
So what is Spiritfire?
Spiritfire is a non-linear, open-world board game system in which you, or the character you're playing, however you want to think about it, explore unique fantasy realms on an introspective journey of discovery, wonder, and mystery with no combat.
We thought to ourselves, doesn't it feel like it's time for something new?
With Spiritfire, we're trying to bridge the gap between a mechanical experience and a personal experience.
We wanted to make an experience that had all of the grandeur and tension of a classic fantasy, but sort of a glowy, supernatural awe that comes with a fairy tale. We wanted to use those things as a foundation for something personal, something kind of substantive and inward looking.
With tapping into the intuitions that players will have. What are people thinking when they're making these decisions? Not follow the story to point A, at which point I make one of these two choices. Well, which one seems like it's going to be the most efficient for me, or which one's going to have the highest reward? No, it's like, what would I really do?
Like many good stories, it's full of conflict and suspense, but I mean, like many good stories, we sought those things in something other than physical combat.
The focus of it is not defeating this, doing that, but really building up your own character.
The goal was to create an enchanting stage to explore the question, who are you? Not in a video game character creation, stat allocation screen kind of way, where the question is, what are your statistics? But in a way where you would explore that if you were an accomplished novelist, who are you?
This idea that you have a choice. Like the fact that you're able to ask that question insinuates a choice of, and a possibility, like an open-ended possibility. But it also makes you ask the question of like, well, who am I? You know
that feeling you get when you're like staring at a river or the ocean and your sense of life and the world around you changes almost imperceptibly at first, but then almost like overwhelmingly, and existence takes on this sort of like air of magical realism.
It is a world where fantasy and reality, whatever that may be, are very intermingled. Like the stuff of life is literally the stuff that you are encountering. Like these intangible forces are literally woven through the world and are the fire and the life that moves through everything.
That's kind of the space we wanted the game to inhabit. We wanted to explore what it means deep down inside to do fantasy adventure things, and then also serve up a bunch of enigmatic mysteries so that your curiosity compels you forward.
Then you can look back at the end of this journey and see what you were able to accomplish, how you've grown as a person.
One thing about our design and development process is that we typically identify a single phrase or idea as what we call a sacred concept for the project, okay? So we use it and refer to it as sort of a lodestar or foundation, and then we build the game to serve that idea. What this does is it helps us ensure that the project doesn't lose track of its purpose and that everything is bound together around a singular substantive focus.
With Spiritfire, for a long time, the phrase we focused on was, who could you be? Which was great. But over and over, we found our conversations also coming back to this idea of what did you do in your life with the light inside you? What did you do with the flame that you carry? And it became clear that this game wants to have two guiding phrases, and embracing both of them has helped us explore nuances that would otherwise have been missed.
Who you are and what you've done, they're not the same thing, but they're intricately related, right? They're constantly informing and influencing each other. So the heart of the game lies in exploring the interaction between these two ideas.
The heart of Spiritfire is trying to find the actual meaning in what you are doing. So not just rushing to the end of your life, like trying to accomplish things or get things, or trying to amass the most you can in one sphere of life. It really is about doing what you can with your spark of life and doing things that enrich that. And it's not a rush to the finish. It's not a rush to the end. It's not a rush to amass the most of something. It really is going out into the world and exploring and seeing what you find and finding things that enrich you, and also going through things that take away from you. And it's this basically an experience of a little lifetime and learning what you can take away from that and what makes it meaningful.
Well, it gives me like a little bit of goosebumps watching people comment on the side while that is going on. It is so exciting. Okay, I hope you loved that video. Again, we are obviously going to be coming back to Spiritfire content. We're going to have a huge section of that in the last hour of our live stream today. But before we get into that, there's a lot more that we want to go through, okay? So let's start with Unsettled. I know you've missed talking about Unsettled. Who wouldn't miss talking about Unsettled? So let's talk about some Unsettled news. Tom, can you kind of give us a quick intro into that?
Yeah, Unsettled just went to fulfillment, like officially in some areas last night. I will actually throw it to Malia for that because she knows more than I do. Tell us about the Unsettled fulfillment saga and where it stands.
So, as of right now, all backer data is out of our hands. It is in the various fulfillment partners' hands, and they're doing all their configuring and such. Europe, as of last week, got all the containers. I think
So everything's
going. Yeah.
And that's kind of, I think, the only, what we're trying to hit there is, like, I don't think we want to spend this show talking about logistics.
Oh,
but we do want to celebrate when logistics are working.
We did post an update last night if you're really, really curious about where the heck is things. And so go to Unsettled
Go
Kickstarter.
read the Where the Heck Is Things doc on Kickstarter.
On Kickstarter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom, what else? As we're looking at Unsettled news here, everything in this stream that we're talking about is going to be on orangenebula.com, so that's important for them to know. We already talked about the website's been revamped and can now ship to Europe as well and everywhere else.
Yes.
It depends a little bit on stock availability in that region, but check it out. There's new opportunity there. So let's also talk about Jared.
We're going to talk about Jared.
you.
How do we feel about Jared?
Oh no, not the principal's office again.
I feel great about Jared. Jared, we've been working on a lot of resources for Unsettled. So tell me about some of the resources we've been working on.
Yeah, so there are lots of different types of folks who play games, and some of us learn really well from reading things, and some of us, like me, learn a lot better from having something audibly explained to me and visually demonstrated in front of me. And so if you haven't checked them out yet, we have a series that we've been working on, uploading to our YouTube channel, of planet primers for all the different unsettled planets. That's basically stands as a replacement for the travelogue if you prefer to hear and have it explained visually.
And you can tell watching those videos, Jared and I had a really good time. We just had a great time.
You can tell that they had a questionably good time. Like, debatably too good of a time.
Not as much fun as playing Unsettled, though.
Oh, set him up.
In addition, on our website, there's going to be an Unsettled database, just like the current Vindication database, that's going to have all sorts of rules discussion and FAQs and examples of things that people are looking for.
I was just taking a bite of my burrito. Forgive me. With that, let's see. Tom and Jared is out. Mark and Krista are coming back. Malia, I still want you.
What?
I do. I just want you next to me for comfort.
That's so nice. I'm so glad.
Primarily for comfort.
I
Okay.
forgot how to read for a second.
Thank you. That was a good burrito bite moment.
I didn't get any burrito.
It's okay. You want a bite?
No, that's okay.
Okay, Mark, tabletop simulator, okay? I've heard that death in simulation, like, still feels like dying. So tell me a little bit about what we've done with Unsettled.
So, Tabletop Simulator is a platform where you can play digitally and you can play remotely with people, from anywhere in the world. And so we've used it for a lot of our play testing, but I think we have 6 planets now available on Tabletop Simulator that are live, and we've got more coming. And actually, there's some special implementations that I think Ken at Coded Cardboard has been working on that I think are worthy of checking out. That platform is incredibly valuable to be able to play when you want to play with any of your friends and not have to necessarily be in the same physical space. So we're excited about Tabletop Simulator and what it's been doing from that aspect.
Okay, awesome. So if you want to die digitally, We've got you covered, okay? Space is hard. Krista, we've got some other...
You have burrito schmutz on your face.
I have burrito on my face. I'm not surprised. Thank you for telling me. This is why I kept you on the couch. Krista, we've got a couple new releases coming for Unsettled 2. Tell me about the Luna pins.
All right, so we have these adorable, I don't know if you can see them, but set of new Luna pins. And each one, one of us kind of took lead. We have this one that is a chibi Luna designed by Justin. We have this sleek metal standard silhouette Luna. And then we have this badge Luna. And so Luna can just accompany you and watch you all day through all of your activities.
That's what she does. She just watches you all day, make sure you stay alive.
Okay. Or judge how well you're staying alive.
That's fair.
With her cold robot eyes.
It's true.
Okay, so you can imagine with everything that we do design-wise, we are pin nerds, okay? So these are very high quality. So we're excited for you to see these. We're excited for you to get them in your hands. Mark, there is one item that has been constantly requested by our community when it comes to Unsettled. Can you tell us what it is and what we've made for them?
People love action trackers. We released the action tracker for Vindication, and people really found that useful. And so, actually, some people from our community who we've been working with, initially, I think it was AJ Plank who was kind of conceptualizing what this action tracker could look like. And so, I've been working with AJ on kind of finishing that. And so, we've got action trackers coming for Unsettled that snap right at the top of your dashboard. As you can see on screen there, and they don't necessarily inhibit the specializations or fascinations modules that you'll snap to the right side. And so yeah, we've finalized the design on those, and those are going into production here actually very, very quickly, probably next week.
Julie says the action tracker is gold, and I could not agree more. Okay,
so pretty.
It is
and
so
shiny.
pretty. Malia, I'm going to kick it to you. We've got a couple things back in stock, Unsettled-wise. What are they?
Yes. So the Luna Tee and the Tumbler, the Luna Tumbler that was available in the Pledge Manager for Unsettled is now on our website. This is super limited stock because we just, the leftovers. But not the leftovers.
We had one quick question. Again, I know we're not going to cover a lot of logistics, but somebody's wondering if any of these items are also going to be available as add-ons when backing Spiritfire.
They'll probably be gone by then.
They'll probably be gone by then. We hear from the wings, okay? Sorry.
The wings have spoken.
I didn't say that.
Krista. Okay, we're ready to switch our thought process here into Vindication, okay? So we're going to leave the world of Unsettled for a little while. We survived, so congratulations, all of us still on the couch. Let's move into some Vindication news. Okay,
Luna t-shirt.
What?
Luna t-shirt.
Oh, you want to talk about the Luna Tee? Okay, we're going to talk about the Luna Tee before we go. Show us what we got here. Ooh. We love it.
See, it was worth it.
It was worth it. Okay, now we're ready to switch into Vindication, okay? Malia, tell us about what we have available right now for Vindication.
The Archive of the Ancients is restocked, available on our website right now!
Thank you to our live studio audience for that reaction. We appreciate it so much.
That's just for Malia. She did a good job.
Okay, now there's limited stock, of course, and other things are going to be available too up there. We've got the neoprene mat expansions and whatnot, so check it out on the website at Orange Nebula. I hear we haven't crashed it yet, so like, woo! First time ever.
If only, never mind. I'm not speaking ill of us and the website.
Good idea. Have a bite of a burrito. Mark, I'm coming over to you.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about the Unsettled database that we've been working on, but we've been working on that for Vindication too. What's in there?
Yeah, the Vindication DB is something that we've been kind of experimenting with to create a place where people can kind of ask questions about card abilities or, talk about combos, what seems overpowered to them, what seems underpowered to them. And so we've been I think for the past 6 or 9 months working on bringing that up. And so it actually is live now, but we need help making it better. So just participation, get in there, mess around. leave comments on certain cards. What's your favorite card? What cards don't you think you would ever want to play with? What are the ones that you would always want to have? Those types of things. And so just start the conversation, and it helps us from a development standpoint, make new cards, and kind of just keep balancing the game as we continue to release new content. And so, we're gonna roll into Unsettled, I think, as soon as we can.
Okay, I hear that we have quite a few people saying that they're already wearing their Luna shirts and their Orange Nebula sweatshirts while they're watching. I do wish we could have like a Zoom screen that had everybody's face up there, like bonus points for people in O-Neb gear. Okay, so Mark, I appreciate you. Get out of here. Krista, get out of here.
Do you appreciate her?
Of course, I always appreciate Krista. I don't even have to say it. I just have to say it to validate Mark first, Tom and Jared.
We're back.
Tom and Jared are back. Okay.
Also, you better show me some appreciation for holding this burrito for you.
Just take a bite and get schmutz on your face.
I don't want to.
She
I
would
learned.
have if she was planning to.
All right. Jared, I want you to help me talk a little bit about some of the Vindication new releases, okay? So can you tell me a little bit about the new release we want to talk about here?
Absolutely. So we have a new promo pack coming that started as an idea in the mind of yours truly as a single sticky note that just simply said, Ancient Cogs. And then a year later, we started working on it, and it is coming your way. It is a series of cool ancient stone automatons and strange machines that have been uncovered from the Tomb of the Ancients. And I super love a bunch of the new abilities, and I think the art is just stellar. And it takes the Vindication art direction into like a whole new zone that none of the art was exploring before.
Do you have a favorite card in it?
Oh, I refuse to pick a favorite.
I have a favorite. It's the one titled A Single Gear.
Yes.
Justin, is that in your B-roll?
Let's bring it.
Can we pause the B-roll and celebrate A Single Gear? There it is. Flashes of A Single Gear. It's on the left. Be ready. Yes.
A single gear.
A single gear.
A single gear.
That's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it's like a Cog Wilson.
Okay, anything else on the Remnants pack that you want to go over? No? Happy?
Happy.
Okay.
No happy.
Then I'm going to push it
No
to
happy.
Tom. Tom, talk to us about the promo pairs.
Yeah, we get asked about the promo pairs all the time. So, the promo pairs are something that we do to support the board game media content creator space. A lot of YouTube channels run their own Kickstarters or just do things in their Patreon or whatever to raise funds to run their channel. And so whenever they reach out for some sort of support from us, we make 2 cards from Vindication that we just gift to them in a big giant box of thousands to do whatever they need to support the people who support them. But then after about a year, when they have no more use for those, we get the leftovers and we put them on our store. And that is now happening for the 2022 packs. We have lots of giggling next to me, which...
Sorry, it's about a burrito.
Okay, it better be, because I'm okay with that.
The burrito changes everything.
It does. I'm carry on. New promo pair for the Dice Tower, Quackalope, Board Game Co., and Man vs. Meeple. So those are on the store, and I guess our sort of collector's item vibe is because we won't make them again. They were promos for a specific purpose, and that purpose is over. So there you go.
My promos.
It is over.
Okay, great.
Now or never.
All right, so that's everything on the Vindication front that we wanted to talk about. So if you have any more questions about that, you can always drop them in, and I can put them into our queue for later.
The only other thing that I would float about Vindication is that I know we have put out the big mega everything box of Vindication, and it seems like we have put a bow on that game. But I would just say, do not cool your Vindication passion yet, because we're doing things. So
Keep your jets aflame.
yeah, I need to shut up. But we're doing Vindication things. Stay tuned.
Okay, deal. So let's shut Tom up and go
I
to
knew that was
Malia.
what you were saying. Deal too.
Let's move into just a little bit of overarching O-Neb news. So, Malia, talk to us about the new website.
So our previous website had several limitations, and we were like,
Several.
we're done with that. So we upgraded. So now we can accommodate pretty much, hopefully, everybody in the whole world. Potentially. So you should definitely
Props to Justin for having B-roll for that in the last, 4 hours.
I'm pretty sure he was like, Malia, it's 2 a.m. I need this. And I was like, can you just figure it out? Here's a link.
Also, they're low-key, the community is low-key designing a burrito planet in the background. I just want you to know that. And also burrito-inspired pins from O-Neb.
Can you tell them they need burrito crumbs too? Because that was the theme.
Burrito crumbs,
Need
because
to
it's all
be-
over my face.
exactly.
That needs to be incorporated into...
Okay, I still have more to say about this website.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
Okay, the burrito distracted us again. So the website is also a super awesome place to catch up on the Outpost podcast, which is a great segue to hear more about it. I'm stealing your job.
Okay.
I think Krista has words to say about that.
About what?
The Outpost.
The Outpost.
Yeah, we gotta get you out of
Oh,
here,
yeah,
though.
sorry, Jared.
Bring Krista in.
It says Malia
Yeah,
leaves,
right
not
there,
Jared.
Oh my
Malia
god,
leave.
I can't read.
There we go. We got it.
She can be your burrito holder.
Welcome back, Krista.
Thank you.
Thanks for flying in. Okay, let's talk about the Outpost. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so the Outpost, if you don't know, is our podcast, and on it we talk about all of the things about living a creative life and creating our products, and just our lives beyond that too. We get a little bit silly, a little bit deep, and it's a really fun time. And so we are currently working on our next. Well, not working on. We're planning our next season. So it's a great time to jump on if you've never watched before. And also a great time to catch up on our previous episodes if you would like. They're all on our YouTube.
It's been a while since I've gotten y'all on the couch together. I miss it.
It's been literal years because we recorded so many. It's been 2 or 3 years, I think, since we.
I'm excited to see how the dynamic is going to shift a little bit as people have matured.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too, Lacey. I'm sure that's going to pan out just like you're describing.
You can look back on our YouTube and see all of our innocent eyes and
Yes.
helpful faces. And yeah.
One of my favorite segments is what would be the worst animal to give wings to. So look that one up. That's a really solid
Classic.
One of
conversation.
those questions to which there is no answer. You
But
can just
there are
ponder.
endless answers
No.
as well. She
There's
goes, no.
There's no answer.
All right, I'm going to pass it to Jared. Jared, let's talk about kind of a new space that we're entering into.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been cooking and brewing inside of our cauldron some new things for you guys to use in the games that you're already role-playing at the table. We have had tons of ideas. We're probably around a year into development on these different modules, and we're super excited next year to let you guys see some of the stuff that we've been working on, because our main goal is to unshackle your creativity with the options that we provide. So.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in this office that really enjoy D&D and Pathfinder and all these other systems, and everyone seems to have their own set of ideas and opportunities that they've seen over the years, and we sort of just collectively said, well, why don't we do these things? Why don't we bring them into the world? And one of the discussions we're having right now is certainly there are people in this audience who also have played and play these role-playing games that have their own opportunities that they're seeing to change that space and evolve that space, and things that you've just said over the years, like, how come someone doesn't just do this? It's the obvious great thing to do. So we want to hear some of those things so we can explore them too. So at some point, we will be sending out a survey in our mailing list, and we'll probably hit our Discord to start a conversation to sort of come alongside the conversations we're already having as we start moving into that space. You did a great job. I just wanted to say things too.
Thank you for helping out.
Also, the discussion of which animal would have the worst wings is going on inside. We've got a fairly good consensus of elephants, and that you'd have to get a special insurance policy added on if elephants could fly against elephant dung. So
I was gonna say it's all just poo related. Isn't
Yeah,
it
it is. It's mostly-
It always goes to poo.
it does.
This question.
You just have to sell the poo helmets.
Poo helmets.
That way, like a hard hat, but for elephant poo.
Tom,
Yeah.
can you talk about Discord a little bit?
I can talk about Discord. There's a lot I could say about our Discord, but what I will say instead is that it's wonderful. Our Discord is weirdly active. It's very, very, very lively. There are people that are just in there all the time. I'm one of them. And we have Luna in there as a bot that you can talk to. She started out as being something that we programmed, which was really fun. Now she has some sort of AI implementation that we had nothing to do with and just sort of started. We don't need to unpack that. It's scary.
Wait, Rogue Luna turned
it,
herself on?
Yeah, it's mostly about tacos. I don't know. But if you want to hang out with us and people like us on a regular, constant, when you're at work and in the bathroom basis, our Discord is very much a place to be.
Perfect.
Yeah, and you can go there. What's the thing? orangenebula.com/Discord will get you an invite.
Okay, great. So if you want to hang out with us and have this kind of chatter all the time, this is a great place to go. We'll have a great time there.
I do, when I get excited, and we have, I'm screenshotted something on my screen, and I think that I can get away with it, I slip sneak peeks into Discord quite a bit. So.
Okay.
It's true. I'll go in there and I'm like, he just posted that?
It's my private joy.
Let's talk about
Public
another...
joy.
It's my public-private joy.
It's my public-private joy. Okay, let's talk about an O-Neb release for a second. So we've got... oh, Malia's here. Good. I thought I was going to have to do it without you. Tell me about the uniform tee.
You were gonna do it without me?
I was going to do it without you. You weren't here. I had to go on.
Never. Anyways, so the uniform tee, this was a tee that was originally designed for all of our conventions, just for our crew. But there was such a big buzz online and at the conventions of how cool these shirts were, and we agreed they're cool. So we decided to make it available for everybody, so hence the title, Uniform Tee, the O-Neb uniform. If you want to be part of our team, you are part of our team. But here, now it's official. Yeah, so now it's available on our website. We did upgrade it a little bit from the original, but I think this is like a way higher quality t-shirt. It is great.
Yeah, it'll be fun. If we could all... Maybe we'll set a uniform for the next live stream event, and we will all have to show up in our uniform tees, including the audience as much as possible.
So
I'm just saying,
cool.
it'd be
or
fun.
culty, depending.
Ooh.
I was going to say, I would definitely
Ooh.
protest not do it.
Jared's protesting. It's fine. It's fine. Just wear whatever you want from Orange Nebula.
Oh, freedom.
Wear your burrito tee, okay? Okay, listen. I've been seeing all your questions in the side. I've been grabbing some of those questions. We've had questions coming up on our Discord and many other channels about Spiritfire and about a lot of other things. So I'm ready, if everybody else is ready, for us to
Are you ready?
move into a bit more Spiritfire discussion, okay? We're going to go through a bunch of your questions. But before we start the open Q&A section, I want to give you another video to look at, all right? So here we go. Justin, take it away.
You've always sensed something more, tucked quietly away within you. A spark, a radiance, flickering with life. A fire inside that is greater than you, and yet somehow is you. The time has come to let it out. This experience is personal. There is no set story for you to follow because you are the story. Your journey will take you through mysterious realms, each full of wonders and intrigue. You'll find stories you can integrate into your own, and moments that will take you by surprise. Your drive to discover will determine which parts of these realms you uncover, and your curiosity will reveal hidden opportunities that might easily go overlooked. It's up to you to decide what is worthy of your spark. The significance of any given moment will be defined by your choices and by your resolve to reach for something more. To simply endure is to stand unchanged. Press in, and you may find something new flickering inside you, a deeper discernment. With this, you will determine and discover who you will become. Each challenge you face will require a fresh approach and the ability to adjust as needed. You will tap into forces within, infinitely more useful to you and wildly more powerful than a sword. Your understanding, your will, your essence. You will also need to reach outward, staking your trust not on equipment and a pack of provisions, but on connections to the world around you. To arcane aspects of reality, surpassing but interacting with the physical. Beneath it all, enabling everything you do, is spirit fire. Wild and potent, intimate yet unknowable. It is the source of mystery and the revealer of truth. Through it, you will seek to discover who you truly are. Tend your fire with care, though, or it may burn out of control. The impact of your actions and exploration will be wide-ranging, affecting both you and the world around you. Sometimes your experiences will lead to growth, sometimes to scars. Occasionally, the environment will evolve and new opportunities will present themselves, at times because of your actions, at times in spite of them. As your journey wears on, your internal spark will diminish. With care and temperateness, you can rekindle it, for a time. But, inevitably, the day will come when your spark will run out and you will face the final act of your passage through this life. In the end, the measure of your efforts is what you did with your spark while it burned. What did you become? And what ancestral legacy did you leave as a foundation for those who follow? What did you do in this dark world with the flame you carried?
Here we go.
Oh,
Ready?
my God.
So if you didn't get it, you didn't know why you're here, surprise, you are officially at the Spirit Fire launch party. Welcome. Tom, what are we doing?
Well, it turns out we're launching a Kickstarter. So when we scheduled this event, we were hoping that's what we would be doing today. We didn't know for sure because we did not want to launch until we knew that we had kept all our promises on Unsettled. But Unsettled is in fulfillment. All the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, all the things, we're good to go. And so, like, 12 hours ago, we knew this is the day it's happening. So, ta-da!
I kind of have goosebumps a little bit right now. So 10 a.m. Pacific time is launch time.
That's an
So
hour and a half, or how
an
what,
hour
and 20
and
from now?
19 minutes
Okay.
now away until Spirit Fire launch time. So surprise! Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Tom, we're happy with you went through everything here.
I think we did. Now I think it's like.
Because I was only half, to be honest, I was only half listening because I was looking at all of the comments that were excited, and I
think we did
Wait,
well.
I
wanna make sure
the
you're-
script has been handled, and
What
now
are-
we are off script.
What are exciting things?
There's 100 today's, yays. So I'm very excited.
What?
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 Yay?
Yay! Okay, so we are now in full-fledged Q&A mode, okay? So we've got a list of questions that we've been curating, but it's time for us to take some of your maybe more detailed, more game-focused questions about Spiritfire because we've got the designers and developers here. So let's freaking do it. Okay. First thing, let's see. What do I want to start with? Will there be a flaming hot version of Spiritfire?
I mean, kinda.
And will you lick your fingers when you're
They're all
done with
flaming
the
hot.
game?
Yes.
Seconded.
Seconded. Okay.
So that's a yes, confirmed, flaming hot version.
So,
Gets on your
Mark,
fingers.
can you talk to me about what a lot of people have been chattering about on the side, which is this drop-in, drop-out multiplayer option. So this is a solo, it's a game made to play solo, but there's this drop-in, drop-out multiplayer feature. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here, actually, but the game being designed to kind of be the best possible solo experience where you get to go at your own pace and explore things to the edges and take your time with these really challenging puzzles and stuff. But we also know that people don't always like to play completely isolated and alone. Sometimes they like to play in the company of others, and occasionally, just like you might do in a video game, it might be like, hey, you want to jump into this quest with me, or do you want to, go into this cave with me and figure out what's on the other side of this wall with me, or whatever. The game allows you to play independently, or jump in, jump out, and play certain aspects of the game together. And I think that's kind of a delicate balance and a needle that we've tried to thread. But I think it's working really well, and I think people are really going to enjoy that. Much of the game, even in multiplayer, will be kind of doing your own thing, but there are things that you can do, even like in a group of 3, we can all get together, attack this challenge, or go into an area where only one player has access to because of their keywords that they've unlocked with either their conduits or their disciplines or whatever. So there are areas of the game where you can only get in if your friends, let you, or you can maybe let other people into areas based on how your character has developed and the abilities and disciplines and conduits that they have, stuff like that.
Okay, anything to add to that? Are you happy?
Well, I wasn't listening. I was whispering with Justin. But yeah, the game was very much conceived as a solo game. That is what it is. But midway through development, we started realizing there is an opportunity here to let some of this solo-ness come alongside other solo-ness and solo together. And because the game allows for it, we are officially endorsing that, though it is a solo game. The way the game is structured, you have your character box that you build your character out of, and then you have a realm box, which is a sold separately item that you take your character into. And so the way that it works is if I had a character box and Mark had a character box, we could both play in the same realm, but we are our own characters doing independent things. But what the things that I do in the realm affect the realm, and thus are also true for Mark when he's there visiting at my house, because it's my realm.
Okay. So to be clear, people are asking just to make sure, one character, one box. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It as a solo game, we made it as compact and as stripped down as possible for one person to have everything they need to play the game. So yeah, each person who wants to play will need to purchase a character box. It is a solo game.
Okay, perfect. Patrick, hey Patrick, good to see you. I was wondering, is a gameplay video possible? Can one be made without spoiling things? So we've got some of that coming along.
One of the things that we're encountering is the game is very ripe for spoilers, and it is also at a stage in development where a lot of the elements that you would show in a gameplay are really story focused, and a lot of that isn't made yet. We use Kickstarter the way that Kickstarter was intended to be used. Kickstarter is a place where we are bringing our idea to have you align with and help us bring into the world. So this is a game, we've been working on it for 3 years, and we really have a solid skeleton of this game that we know, like we've beat this up more than I think any of our peers would have beat it up. But now we're putting like the story meat on the mechanical bones. So it's kind of hard to show things at this stage. What we're doing is we're preparing a series of guides that look in depth at a lot of the mechanics. And we will have gameplay videos. We have one shot. We're going to do some more. But part of the nature of the game is it's really hard to just show a gameplay video. The way that it unfolds, it being a solo game, there's not just one core mechanical loop that you can just show them in 20 minutes. Mark, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a different type of a game, and I think it is in some ways a lot like a video game where there's a lot required, I think, to kind of showcase what we're trying to express as the player experience, like you said, without getting into spoilery types of things, but also just in terms of how we're designing it. We're reaching for something a little bit different here. Even with like the rule book, the reason we don't have a posted rule book, or you find that we don't have a posted rule book, is because the rules are integrated into these challenge spreads, and like every page is like, as you're progressing, the rules are right in front of you. You don't have to like go to page 59 to figure out what this term is, because the thing you're doing has the rules on it. And so it's just a very different type of a thing. It's not like a typical Euro game or anything like that. And so yeah, it's going to require, I think, some effort on our part, which is why we started with the overview guide that we released a day ago. And we've got a bunch more of those coming to kind of walk through the aspects of playing. Because yeah, it's a different, we're reaching for something a little bit different here, and it's really hard to kind of articulate until you see more of it. And I think, I feel you there, that you want to see more of it, but we're trying to do that without, giving away all the secrets of it. So,
Arcane Mage said, the well-written, humorous, snarky tone is what a lot of people really liked about Unsettled, which that's true. I mean, reading through those cards, it's hard not to just be cracking up the whole time and just feel the cleverness of it. So is that incorporated into Spiritfire? How is the writing in Spiritfire different than that kind of snarky, quirky tone that you might find in Unsettled?
So I know Tom's obviously going to talk about this, but I just want to squeeze in first. A moment ago, when Tom was talking about how we've been beating up the mechanical skeleton, I wanted to point out that while that has been our main focus, the thing that has gotten me the most excited in the last few years that we've been working on it has been the world building and the storytelling that we've been working on, and that those parts still are the most exciting for me personally. And so anyone out there who's thinking like, oh no, wait, are they going to start the story soon? Like, no, we're working on it, and I'm very excited. So
I would also like to jump in front of Tom here, because Tom did the writing in Unsettled, and it is world-class writing in my opinion. He crushed it there, and Tom is doing the writing on Spiritfire as well. I do think that Spiritfire has a different tone and flavor and voice that I think Tom will elaborate on now, but Unsettled has a characteristic demeanor with which it, kind of presents itself to the audience, and I think Spiritfire has a different voice that we're going for, but I think it is still going to have all the endearing charm and flavor and those types of things. Mm-hmm. Over to you, buddy.
You can go. You can have the floor.
The writing on Spiritfire.
The writing on Spiritfire. I like how you guys just assume that I'm somewhere else
mentally.
until
just
suddenly
give
it's
you
time.
A cue.
Yeah, I think, if you enjoyed the writing on Unsettled, there is no reason you won't also enjoy the writing in Spiritfire. It is a different brand with a different voice. There will be room for some of the goofier, funnier, sillier, sharper things. They're probably going to come from, this NPC just behaves that way, or there's a creature that's particularly silly or snarky or whatever. but the general overall voice of the franchise is a little more introspective, a little more like fairy tale poetic, Neil Gaiman kind of feel, as opposed to more of the like Terry Pratchett thing that we brought with Unsettled. But it is still going to be held to the same intense, obsessive, rigorous standard that we have when it comes to writing. So hopefully, if nothing else, it checks the quality box. But we're gonna make it good.
We're gonna make it
We're gonna make it good.
We're gonna make it good. It's what
It's gonna be great.
How would you say Robert B wants to know what the learning curve of the game is going to be like? How would you describe the learning curve?
So, we have built a fairly substantial tutorial when you go through the first realm, which is called an awakening, to basically teach you the game in steps. And so you're not going to have to dig around through the rule book and try to figure out or watch a video unless you watch one of our videos. I think the tutorial is gonna take care of any of those concerns, because it's just going to give you step by step. Okay, there are 4 cards in your hand. Do you see the blue one? You're going to play the blue one right now, and it's going to take you through. And
that
one
will
by
not
one.
be the voice of the tutorial.
That will not be the voice of the tutorial. We just talked about the writing, so yeah, no, it'll take you through step by step and start to speed up so that you have, as you progress through, more and more of those mechanics are going to become second nature.
But there will be a rule book that you could learn from if you don't want to do the tutorial.
There's going to be 2 fronts to this. One, there's just going to be a rule book if you want to read the rules, and it's going to be organized in a way that makes sense and is organized. But there will also be this tutorial experience where you can just sort of sit down and go into it knowing nothing. A good frame of reference would be Jaws of the Lion. The tutorial in that game is brilliant. You sit down knowing nothing, you turn to page 1 and you start doing what it says, and all of a sudden you're playing the game. That is our goal with the tutorial for this. It will then also have a reference, so when you need to refer to something, you don't have to be like, what freaking part of the tutorial was this in? There will be a regular reference guide for you to go to, but your first learning experience is going to be much more guided and involve less memorization the night before than most games.
Josh Stevens wants to know, will there be an art pack for Spiritfire and also for the new Unsettled Planets? Please, please, please. We want an art pack. Krista, are you going to advocate for that too?
I just do as I'm told.
Well, are we?
It's something we will consider. Yes.
Okay.
The cold reality about the art packs is that some people care, most people don't. They're expensive to produce at the caliber that we insist on producing them, and the subset of people who appreciate that, we have found so far, don't warrant the expense.
Okay.
That being said, the art in this game is ridiculous, so I'm sure it will come up.
Okay, that makes good sense. We're getting some questions about replayability overall. So if it's pretty prone to spoilers, what's replayability going to be like? That's a term asked a lot around our industry, replayability. How does that come into play with Spiritfire?
All right, I'll attack this one. So, in the game, you're going to progress your character, and your character starts with a certain amount of spark of life, which is kind of like their internal spark. When that spark of life runs out, you will open a mystery box that kind of takes that story to a crescendo and finishes or concludes that character's story. And in that phase, there will be things that character hands down as part of their legacy to another character who can either continue or start a new journey. And so in this way, you can play the game theoretically forever, but you'll be going through different characters as you do it. That's the best way I would answer that question.
I think that's a fair answer. If you play video games, there's a bit of roguelike element to it where, you play through a run, though in the course of this game, it's not this quick flash in the pan thing. It's a full playthrough of a character over the course of many play sessions. But then when that character's story is concluded, you go through this end game phase, and some interesting things happen that we've agreed not to spoil the end game. But it is cool. And it sets up the next playthrough to be new and fresh and different. And your whole card pool that you have gained with your first playthrough becomes available as cards that your new character can potentially learn. They don't just start with it automatically. But it is sort of a new game plus roguelike thing where now you're back in the game, some things have changed. The character creation process and everything is just slightly tweaked here and there to make each new character feel fresh and new. But each of your playthroughs are building on the world as you've played through before. So the worlds don't reset unless you want them to, but and everything is built so that you can reset it if you want, but the design intention is that as you play through these characters, the world stays persistent, and we're going to release more realms and more quests that you can attack in those realms. And the idea is that it's just something that you can kind of keep returning to and expanding on and building your collection and making different types of characters as you poke at different corners of these realms and different quest lines.
Yeah, so just to finish that thought, let's just say that you're addicted to this game and you've played it for months and months and you're on your third character. The realms that you've already played will remain persistent, and so you may have completed some quests in that area, but there's persistent ongoing things that can happen that will still lead to the opening of new content packs that you've never seen before. And there are personal quest packs that can be pursued in any realm, so the realms stay persistent regardless of whether or not you've been there before. Plus, we're introducing new realms and environments to go within, so replayability is really high.
So quick clarification, someone asked, can I visit more realms in a single life?
Oh yeah, you can jump around. You can jump around as you want to.
The realms are very much an open world experience. So, you can go to a realm, poke at a couple quests in there, mess with this one a little, mess with this one a little, mess with this one, decide enough of this realm, go somewhere else, sort of just float about and decide what you want to pursue. You can also, the way that the realms are designed is they really are designed to not be sort of like a scenario and quest that you're playing through, but be more of just a living environment for you to go and inhabit and play in. So each of the quests will have, a bunch of packs. Did I say realms or quests? Each of the realms will have, a bunch of quests and storylines that you can follow and things that you can unpack. But they also are just these active living environments where things happen. So if you go into the forest in a realm that has scary things in the forest, it will always be scary and always try to get you, regardless of what you do with the quests in that realm, unless you burn the forest down. But the point I'm getting at is the realms aren't really something you consume. They're something that just exists for you to go to, and there are going to be a series of personal quest packs that we're continuously releasing, and so you can say I'm going on this batch of quests and I'm going to go to this realm for these ones, and I feel like these quests are going to be really well suited to pursue in this realm. Or if you have a quest that really focuses on you having lots of interactions with people, you might recognize, well, this realm has more people, so I'm going to go into that realm to work on that quest. And so the realms are more just like worlds and environments than they are scenarios, so to speak.
do we have a sense of how many realms we're going to be releasing on Kickstarter, and if more will come after?
We do. There's a one realm that comes in the character box, and that's called an awakening. It's kind of a jungle realm. We are releasing one additional realm in the Kickstarter called the slabs, and we have more in development, but we have chosen to kind of limit to these so that we can produce quickly and not get caught in a long development cycle, so that we can deliver on time.
Side
And two realms. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I know this coming from us. There is, and because the format is similar to Unsettled, there might be an instinct to compare a realm to a planet. And while that makes a degree of sense in sort of the release structure, a realm is very different from a planet. You know, the realms are huge pieces of content. They are
Massive.
like catastrophically larger in all conceivable ways than a planet. So 2 realms is a ton of content.
It's a universe, right?
If we
a universe of
if
work.
we were smart people, this Kickstarter would have 1 realm. Here we are with 2.
We're stupid.
Infer what you will.
We're not smart people.
But side note, Grey Wolf says, I just want to go on record to say that I love Krista. That is all. Thank you. And so,
We all
you
love
know,
Krista.
she
so
is a smart
true.
person. It's true.
She
and
is.
and Dwight brought up the idea, going back to the art prints, can you make high quality picture files available for us to get prints of instead? That's an interesting idea.
I could get down with that.
Okay. I like this that came from Board Game Revolution because I think it plays into a similar or an interesting theme that we've always talked about for this game, which is there any chance for darker themed content? I could imagine a nightmare type realm being interesting. We've used the term fairy tale with this kind of content that has a bit of a darker theme underlying. So would you say that a good amount of this content, I mean, it's not super bright and bubbly. It's got some dark themes to it.
I think for there to be tension, there has to be something that you're rubbing up against. And it can't just be, you know, all fairy tales out in the, you know, sunlit glade all day. There are things that are dark that are going to haunt you. I mean, the burdens in this game are pretty heavy. But yes, I think there's a couple ways that I can approach this question. The first one is yes, there have to be dark things for there to be tension. But to answer the question the way I think it was intended, are we going to have something that's thematically dark as maybe perhaps a realm or maybe some personal quests? I think those are things that we're having conversations about right now. Yeah, for future realms, but probably more along the lines of personal quests.
Right. The game is exploring not just the dark stuff that the universe can create and put in front of you, but also the dark stuff that your own mind and experience and personality puts in you.
Ooh, yeah.
For real.
Ooh, that's a word.
That you put into the universe.
Well, it ends up coming out of you once it's in there, yeah.
This will be our heaviest game. You know, it's not going to be a grim dark game. You know, this will not be Dark Souls. As much as I love that series, but it, you know, just from us, from our brand, there will always be, you know, some light and hope in there. But this game does aim to explore substantive themes and stories. And like Mark said, I think with what we're trying to do with this one, you can't have those conversations without allowing things to go to a heavy place. So I would probably be more comfortable saying that we're willing to let it get heavy than dark.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan wants to know, can we clarify where the challenge in the game comes from?
This entire game is challenge. I mean, so the majority of the gaming experience is going to be using your deck of cards situationally with everything that you're doing. So customizing a deck so that when you're playing it, you're building efficiencies and combinations that are going to serve your purposes in this really thick book of challenge spreads with encounters, and every single one of them is a completely different and very difficult intellectual minigame. There will be no shortage of challenge in this. That is designed as primarily that experience. In addition to that, the encounter and quest cards have variables on them that would change the situation that you're in terms of the challenge. But there's also an additional kind of what we call challenge mode, which is like super hard mode, that is going to be very difficult. So, yeah, the majority of this as a solo game has to be filled with difficult things. Otherwise, it's going to get boring really quick. And I don't think this game allows for that.
Would there be any negatives to playing all of Spiritfire with two people? Two players next to each other, side by side, through the whole game? Any negatives to that?
No, not with the right two people. The game is designed with the assumption that you're spending a lot of the time on your own. So we are allowing it to have these, thinky moments where you're going to sit down and, ponder things for a few minutes, and you're not, necessarily, when you're making a multiplayer game, you really have to take into account, how long someone's going to be doing something before it passes to someone else so they can have their turn, so people don't get bored. And with this, you're taking your own, even if you're playing with two people, you're still having your own space and your own time. So you're never really having to wait for someone. But there is a lot of just, I'm sitting here in my own space doing my own thing where I'm not interacting because I'm thinking about what I'm doing. And if being in that kind of mode is something that you would find fun with someone else, then it could be a great experience to go through together. If you're looking for a really social, interactive experience with it, it would probably be something better suited to short bursts of togetherness where you're doing interactive things. But long bouts of the game together, you're going to reach these moments where you need to kind of isolate and think for a bit, and you probably wouldn't get what you're looking for.
If you've got a partner or a spouse and you're willing to kind of, go slowly and crawl through the game so that you can experience everything and you can lay out your hand of cards together and look at what they are and discuss what the combos might be together and stuff like that. I could really see this working in that type of a situation, especially if you're living together, and you have the availability to continue to get it, to the table together. Primarily, though, I think a lot of players probably would prefer to just make those decisions themselves, but I could see a case for both. I just think you'd be in the minority to play together, but it is definitely doable. And I mean, we thought about that. In fact, we just had a long conversation about that recently. About a tandem mode, and you can, but I think it would be misleading to present the game as that being the primary way to do it, simply to not have to get a second character box or something like that. I do think it would be doable for the right couple of people.
Okay, thank you. That was a great answer to that.
I have a question from Scramble Rat.
Okay.
Is Spiritfire backwards compatible?
Can I plug realms into the unsettled framework?
Yeah, exactly.
Try not to die in the slabs.
I appreciate Justin just having to ask the video game question.
I know, I left it out on purpose. That's funny. Okay, quick aside that's kind of fun here. Christian says, can we get a bird as a pet in Vindication called Spirit Flyer?
Can I make it? Yes.
You sketched this afternoon.
With Krista on the team, there's never not going to be a bird. Number one.
Or something with wings. If it's not a bird,
I'm pretty sure Krista just has a folder that's just birds, and anytime we need something, she's like, "How about these ones?" And
where'd that come from?
Kevin did
Probably.
it. I don't know if we can. I don't.
Can you sock it to some?
Well, Justin doesn't want to mess with his screens.
Okay.
I don't know if this is going to be viewable, but it's a flaming hot
It's not.
Wait,
Well,
am I in focus?
It's good. The focus is probably right here where we're sitting. So
Yeah.
that's probably as sharp as it can get.
Yeah.
Thorbody is
Make
asking
this
if
bigger.
it's backwards
I don't know.
compatible to any of our other games. Like, could you play a realm from Spiritfire in Unsettled? No.
Were you listening? We just said that.
Maybe future things will be backwards compatible with Spiritfire. We'll think about it.
Okay.
Actually, Eric has been making that case since the start.
Has he?
So,
He has.
Interesting.
Eric is the other designer of the game, by the way. He is busy doing some Eric logistics things at the moment.
Things that are too difficult for us to do. Yeah.
Okay, is there, let's see, two things I keep going back and forth and I really want to get to. How long would you say it takes to complete one character's objective or their story, their life? I'm not sure what to call it. How long? Can you anticipate how long one character can play for?
We've talked a lot about this. I think there's going to be varying player lengths. This game is not the type of game where you can go in and try to speed through it and set a record, because the game will punish you for that. The game rewards how much you can do, how far you can go, going above and beyond in every situation. So that's where you actually gain traction in the game. And because of that, as you're going through these challenges, some people are going to open a challenge spread and they're going to take 25 minutes to get through a challenge, just one challenge, on their way down to maybe move to another node. And that could perpetuate.
Someone else might play that same spread in 6 minutes, though.
Right.
It's all over the place.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. And there are going to be a lot of those types of things. You're going to probably do at least 100 of those in a character's, let's say, lifespan. And
it is, just to be perfectly candid, at the current development place that the game is at, we don't know. We don't know how long a character will take to play through, because we are still developing the story and pulling the different levers and seeing, what feels like too long and what how do we need to move the pieces around so that it stays engaging, and those are still the sort of areas of development that we're working on. So we don't have a concrete answer yet for how long the game might take.
we don't want it to be too long, but
Yeah.
I guarantee it won't be too short.
We're, I most of the people on the design team, if not everyone, is definitely of the mindset of preferring a potent experience to a just arbitrarily long one where the value of the game is X million numbers of hours of gameplay. I don't have time for that, but I want to have a good experience when I play the game. So, we also want it to be, substantial enough that it was substantial. So we're trying to thread the needle to where it's not, off-putting, like, oh my gosh, X million hours to play this game, like that isn't going to work for me. I don't have time for another huge campaign in my life. We don't want that to be an issue.
It is.
So
It is a lot like a video game too. I've been playing World of Warcraft for, almost, I think it's been out for like 18 years now, and I just I put it away for a year and I'll come back to it and I jump back in. And this game is kind of built in the same way, where you could just play for a really long time, have a period of burnout just like you will on any other game, and then 6 months later you're like, I want to get back into it. That was really fun.
oh look,
And
there's a new realm out.
yeah, there's a new realm, and you want to jump in. So we're hoping that people are still playing this in 10 years.
World of Warcraft and other games of that ilk is a very good comparison for the relationship that we anticipate people having with this game.
You've talked a little bit about what happens when you come to the close of a character's story, but is there a way to lose the game? Or is it just the end of the character's story?
So what you're doing over the course of the game is, through personal development, which comes through pursuing quests and engaging with the world, you are attaining wisdom. And, so when you come to the end of your story, you will have, through gaining disciplines and completing quests and overcoming burdens and the various other things that you do, accumulated a certain amount of wisdom, which will then influence what happens in the end game, what gets passed down, and how things change for the next playthrough. And so losing is more of a, on this sliding scale of what you could have achieved with your time and your effort, you achieved less. How would you elaborate on that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the heart behind the question is, what are you rubbing up against? What's making it difficult? I mean, it's when you look at a role play or you're trying to echo life, you lose when you die, and what was your life worth? That's what this game is. And so you may lose a challenge. There are quests that are difficult and you're going to fail because you're not prepared, and then you go back and you try again and you modify your deck, you unlock some new abilities and things like that, and then you try it again and you finally beat it and it feels really good because it was hard. There's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But the game itself, you basically just run out of your internal spark or time, or your life is over and you have to carry things down and you got as far as you could. It's not necessarily losing, but it's the record or the legacy that you're leaving, or however you want to frame that, the mark that you left on the world.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a really good video game comparison coming together there too, where it's like, yeah, you are losing at this thing that you're attempting. You are trying that boss again and again and doing poorly. And so you go and you reconfigure yourself and you try some new things and you get some new cards and you come back and you attempt this thing again. Like, I am going to attempt to convince the druids to let me in the cave again, and I keep failing at it. And so you do come against these walls that you have to work to get through. And so it's not like you're just floating around and failing forward and the game just sort of perpetually lumbers on. Like, there are things where the game says, well, here's a thing you could achieve, and you haven't until you do. And, in the video game comparison, it is like, I referenced Dark Souls, okay, now you've got this boss, and, you don't lose the game. You never lose that game. You just keep trying until you push through and move on. And this is an open world game, so if you come up against something that you're not able to beat, you can't convince the druids or decrypt this lock or whatever you're trying to do, well, maybe you go and you do something else for a while, and then later you get some more cards and you realize this would work really well with convincing the druids. I'm going to go try that again now. And so there will be things pushing on you and pressure points that you can't get through, and so there will be that tension of, I'm trying to do something. But there won't be a point where the game is like, and that's it for you. You lost. You failed. End of game. In the same way as a video game.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that the spark of life is a really potent metaphor too. Like, you are spending your spark of life on these endeavors, and so I find myself using that just in conversation, like, how are you? Oh, my spark of life is it's so natural, and such a natural way of describing that kind of internal space and how it relates to what we do and what we give and what we face, that I find it very powerful.
We talk like that in the office now. Like,
what's your spark?
There's 2 spark of life on this project. Website issue, 2 spark of life.
I'm leaving my desk to go meditate at the river to regain my spark.
Yeah, Not Bad on Discord had a question about spark. Am I correct in this way of thinking? Spark is endurance and character longevity?
Longevity, yeah, kind of. It does serve to a certain extent as a timing mechanism. There are things in the game that will allow you to unlock, using the flicker system, additional spark of life cards that let you add to the deck that you're slowly diminishing, and when it runs out, you're done. And there are also things like Jared was mentioning that will allow you to go just kind of reset yourself and rest and rekindle some of your existing spark as well. So you're basically discarding forever, and sometimes you can shuffle them back in such a way you can stack the deck a little bit too. So as you unlock more and more powerful spark cards, you can diminish, but you can rekindle just the most powerful ones, and so you can, at some point you're just going to have the really powerful ones in there, but you're never going to be able to exceed the amount that you're spending, so you're not going to be able to live forever.
And that was really an important part of it's cool mechanically, but it also is a really important part of sort of the message and theme of the game for us. Is, you know, when we settled on this idea that this game is about, you know, how much can you do with the fire inside you? You know, how much wisdom can you get in a life? What do you do with your spark? You know, while it burns. And we started imagining that in gamer terms, where you just come and you're just like, I'm gonna, you know, maximum efficiency and get so much done, and I will be the, you know, and you know that's, you know, you can come to life like that and just burn the candle at both ends and just flame hot and loud and be gone. Whatever that thing is, that
be gone.
I know that there's a, you know, like whatever that statement is, it's I'm missing it right now.
No,
but,
it's relatable.
You know, we really wanted to capture that, like, to really do things in life. You know, you're spending your life 1 hour at a time. Like, we wanted to really capture the idea that, like, to do a lot, you have to take moments to slow down. You can't just go full tilt your whole life. You will burn out. And so, in order to do more in this game, you need to sort of paradoxically in gamer think, like, take time to go and refill your tank with some activities that increase your spark instead of just spending it.
Yeah, and in this game, there's a lot of opportunity cost too, because you're not going to be able to, with one character, do everything. It's impossible. You're not going to be able to experience every single thing that the game has to offer. You can go slowly and try to experience every piece of it, but you'll only go so far. Maybe you only make it so far into the next realm or the next realms. And so I think that's true to life. You know, everything is an opportunity cost. I have 4 choices right now. I only have time to do one. Which one are you going to do? Well, those choices are only meaningful if there's something lossy at the other end of it. So,
But not destroyed.
But not destroyed.
Board Collect had a nice piece of wisdom here. A flame that burns twice as bright only burns half as long.
There it is. Thank you.
There it is. A lot of people are asking about tracking information between sessions. Is there some sort of journal? How do we track information between play sessions? How are we managing that?
It's actually pretty straightforward.
You're gonna love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it is just tracked by you just put your cards behind the right dividers, voila. There are several things that don't go behind dividers because they're not cards. You have seen the pad of paper probably in the previews where you're drawing your flicker lines to unlock things. The reverse of those sheets right now is planned to have a little save on it. So once you use a sheet for flicker and spend it to unlock a card, then instead of recycling that immediately, the back side of it now becomes a little stack of save cards for when you stop playing.
If we need it, yeah, we might even be able to. We're so close to being able to eliminate that, because the mechanism we have right now is when you rest, everything, you know, your Spirit Fire dice reset, your resolve resets. It's really just about your cards, putting them behind dividers, and then stacking your 2 map trays together. And even in the realm, your milestones just go behind a divider. Your active quests, your completed quests, it's all very, very simple. Mm-hmm. I don't even think there's a whole lot of writing at this point. Mm-hmm. We may have one small thing that you might have to write down on the back.
Mm-hmm. Mark and I hate setup.
We hate that.
Honestly. You'll notice that this game has no chits. No cardboard chits whatsoever, which we have been absolutely heck bent on the entire time.
It's not happening.
Like,
I'm not putting punchboard in here. You'll have to kill me.
And he means that. And people have tried, and he means it. And
just the dashboard. That's
the
it.
The game will be very simple to set up and tear down.
I don't like fiddly games. Mm-hmm. I don't like games that take, like, there's a certain level that you have in every game, our games included, right? But yeah, the punchboard tokens
less and less
set me over the top.
Game. Like that's the end of what I got.
I'm triggered.
Okay, so you're talking a lot about setup for tracking between, but what about the narrative? How are we tracking the narrative of the character over time? Is there, are we going to provide some sort of journal? Is that something people kind of do on their own?
So that's tracked in a couple of ways. a lot of the quests that you complete will have story cards that result. And you will take these cards and you have a divider in one of your boxes that's just your story. And you will tuck these story cards into that divider area to where at any given point you can pull out this little stack of cards and you can read through and say, here's my story so far, here's what I've done. And then separate from that but related, in each realm there is a track on the realm map where you track your milestones of sort of key interactions or events that you have, taken or achieved in the realm, which come from quests and encounters. They have these little icons on the corner of them, and as those icons stack up in your milestones track, that indicates sort of this ongoing narrative of where you're at your story in that realm. So, an example might be, if there are two people groups in the realm that are, in conflict with each other, and you do a favor for this group, a little icon of theirs goes in your milestone track. You get enough of those in there, then this people group won't deal with you anymore. So that becomes sort of part of your story in that realm, where your behaviors have just changed the way that the realm reacts to you. A lot of quests interact with this milestone track. So, you're trying to do something and you can't even try it until you have a certain number of these icons. So sometimes they can represent, clues that you're looking for, or things that you are trying to uncover, or relationships that you have with people, and things of that nature.
So if people want to have a written narrative, right now that's kind of on their own.
Right now, there is no written component.
There is a journal aspect in your book, in the tome, that we're going to let people kind of do what they want to, or at least maybe we're thinking about some type of an additional insert to let them do that, not necessarily in the main book, but to let people customize and
we're trying to.
A lot of people really love that.
Yeah, and that's we're trying to find a way to make that an option, where it's not required, because some people don't want anything to do with the game where you have to do that, and that also we protect your ability to reset the game, which we know is incredibly important to a lot of people. So we're trying to find a balance in how we integrate something like that.
30 minutes, people. 30 minutes to launch, 30 minutes to launch, 30 minutes, here we go. Okay, you remember that one time on that Kickstarter when we were closing that first Kickstarter and we thought that it was closing in 30 minutes and it was actually an hour and 30 minutes, and then we had to stay. That was Frostal's Day, wasn't it? We had to stay on a live stream for another hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, Lacey and I were doing, I think it was was it the original Vindication campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we were doing an AMA at the closing. And was it a half an hour?
We thought we were a full hour behind.
We're like, I guess we're going for another hour.
Yep. But today it's not that. Today it's a half hour. We were 30 minutes, 29 minutes, okay, till launch.
Do we have any zany questions?
Good question. Let's see.
Yeah, Jared's good at zany answers.
Amber wants to know if this game is going to be ADHD friendly.
Oh, heck. Well, I mean, frick. Well, I am resident ADHD, and I like it. I'll have it. I'll need to get back to you.
Mm-hmm. But he likes it, so ADHD likable at least. That's your zany.
I'm not sure which aspect of your particular neurodivergency you're focusing on, so I don't know.
Okay.
When we get into the heavy rounds of playtesting, we will.
I appreciate the thematic undertones of your response, Jared. Well done.
Yeah. I will say, I don't want to make people think I'm ignoring them. There are some logistical questions that are coming through, like timing and whatnot. That's all going to be on the Kickstarter page, so I'm kind of letting that be over there. I want today's discussion to really be around mechanics, because I know that that's what people want the most information on. So please just know that I'm seeing your questions and I'm not ignoring them, but they're going to really live on that Kickstarter page. So you can sneak over to there when it's time to start asking those questions. Okay.
I'm not ignoring
I'm
you.
not ignoring
but
you.
I'm ignoring you.
But I will not be discussing.
I am.
I'm glazing right past them.
Welcome to our life.
Coffee Spoon Man wants to know.
I like him.
They say, I love story-heavy games, but often find the mechanics can get repetitive after dozens of hours of content. Thinking about things like Awakened Realms games. How can the mechanics stay fresh when the content is so story-heavy?
I feel like the answer to this is the answer to the ADHD question.
Okay.
Actually, which is that each quest and encounter are changing the mechanical interactions of the spreads in a nuanced way that's specific to what's happening narratively. And so the actual stuff that you're doing with the cards connected with what you're doing in a character.
Mm-hmm. In so many games, what you have is a combat loop. And yeah, you can introduce some variations to combat, but in the end, what you're doing is combat against a different foe. And by not having this game revolve around combat, it forced us into this position where we had to accommodate for literally anything else you might try to do in life and the world that is challenging. And so, instead of having I'm dealing with combat, the equivalent of that in this game would be a spread in this book. And instead what we have are dozens and dozens and dozens of spreads because we had to account for myriad different types of things beyond just this one combat element. So it's one of those things where as soon as we eliminated the idea of combat from the game at all of a sudden, it just exploded with how much variety there was to the experience. Because for a long time, combat was an option. But what we found was that combat just always takes over. It becomes the default behavior, or at least 50% of the behavior, and it was just shoehorning everything. Well, we have to account for the fact that you can fight this, but then the second we eliminated combat, the game just bloomed into this really big experience that it wasn't before.
Okay, so let's talk about a realm. Ingrid, I need one more drink here. Thank you. Ingrid,
You're welcome.
Ingrid wants to know, when we go to a realm, what are we actually visiting? They're asking about whether there's an accompanying app or a flip book, so let's talk about that.
There will be a map that you are visiting. So each realm has up to 12 cards that when assembled together in a grid make a map. And there's also then a realm mat, and on that mat are these decks of cards that represent encounters and quests and things from that realm. But your main, inhabiting the space of the realm will be this map. As you're exploring, the map will reveal itself, and different areas of the map will be tied to different encounter decks. So, the example I gave earlier was you're in the forest, and the forest is dangerous. So when you're moving around in the forest, you will be drawing dangerous encounters. But then maybe you make it to the town, and now you're having these really interesting encounters with people that aren't dangerous, but that have a lot of opportunities or are pertinent to your quests. And then the things that you do in the realm, because the map is made of cards, it gives us a lot of room to mess with the map. Oh no, there's a tunnel under this, and now new cards come out, and there's a whole cave system you didn't know about, or you drained the lakes, replace all the lakes with these drained cards that are now, it's the little desert area with a door at the bottom, or the entire forest has burned down with ghost fire, and now it is this haunted area, or I really am just making things up. But this is the map being cards lets us go crazy with it. If you have played Unsettled and seen how we sort of mess with the map in Unsettled, that's sort of child's play for what we're trying to do with Spiritfire.
Yeah, there's gonna be a big opportunity for community created content around these things too. Just like with Unsettled, people making their own planets and stuff. This system is so vast, and the possibilities are so exponential. I think people will see right away the potential to do almost anything in these worlds.
The realms are really immersive. So you'll have, you have the map, and you have all these areas on the map, and then you have this stack of quests, and a lot of the quests are, NPCs and people that just exist in the space. And, if I go into town, I can talk to this guy, and every time I talk to him, there's this opportunity to try his trial. And someday I'm going to beat his trial and get to open his pack of cards and see what I learn. But anyways, that's really hard. But on this mountain over here, I can do this other thing. And the realms are just so full of life that just moving around and exploring in them is, for me, at least as fun as the challenge of playing my magic deck against this book opponent. I love exploring the realms and just engaging with the characters and creatures that live there, and that's where most of my joy from the game comes.
I have quite a few questions around character development, but I want to do one more on this before I move to there. So let's say I'm playing through as another character. So I've finished my first character's exploration and story, and I'm coming through as a second character. Is it going to be, when I'm facing a similar encounter, am I going to be facing the same encounters and I'm just making different choices based on my character? Am I going to be facing different encounters? What does that look like when I take a new character through Spiritfire?
So, if you think of the realms just as these perpetual living spaces, the hypothetical forest that's dangerous that I keep talking about, you come through there with another character and it's still a dangerous forest. What recontextualizes it is what that character's motivations are, what they're trying to do, and just sort of what that character is all about. So, if I am playing a character, for example, that is really focused with my personal quests on becoming really powerful at interpersonal human relations interactions. That character, if they go into the village, I realize I moved away from my scary forest, but that's just what happened. Open world, this is how it goes. The previous character may not have had a lot of, they go into the town and they interact with the people and they have a certain experience there. But then the next character comes and they have all these personal quests that can be achieved through interactions with people. And now they are interacting with the same NPCs in town, but their goals for those interactions are different. And so it changes and recontextualizes your relationship with the pieces of the world based on who you're trying to be and what you're trying to do with that character. So how you come to the space changes the way the space feels, as opposed to the space has the agency in being interesting. No, you, the character, are interesting. The space is a vehicle for you to be interesting.
Let me give another example. Maybe you go back into this dangerous forest and you rescue this druid, and this druid gives you quests and teaches you things every time you do something for her, for example. And then your character's spark of life runs out, and then another character comes in, and you go back into this realm that you had with your first character, but that druid's already there because it's already been saved. But this druid is going to continually offer quests to you that are unique and lead to the opening of fresh content packs that you've never seen before based on who you are as the new character. So you might have had the first character maybe is really strong in logic. Maybe your second one is maybe really strong in empathy. That's going to change the outcome of your interactions with this druid on this other character because of who you are and what you've learned and what your predispositions are and how you want to play the game. And so I think that's one aspect that I think is really important. It's kind of hard to convey.
And do I actually affect the realms? Do they change as I explore them as well?
Yeah, so the example I keep giving that's a made-up example is, let's say I'm playing in a realm for a few hours, and at some point I inadvertently destroy the bridge. Well, I open up a pack, and I put a new map card down with the destroyed bridge, and then Jared comes over, and we're playing at the same time, and Jared's like, "What the heck, man? Where's the bridge?" And I'm like, "Sorry, man, I burned down the bridge." And then we have to like circumnavigate that because the play space, the decisions that you make permanently sometimes affect, what happens environmentally, and sorry, I did something. Jared comes to me later. Is like, "Sorry, I did something that upset the druid. She's not in the forest anymore." And then you will never see that druid again. Like those types of things can happen. Maybe you will see her again. But
She became a squirrel.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, Claudette.
So there are some. Yeah, your decisions do impact things, and they will affect everybody who plays in that realm, and the way that everything interacts with you.
We're having a couple of people that are just jumping on right now and saying they're late. Welcome. Well, if you don't know and you're just arriving, this is a surprise launch party for Spiritfire. We've got 17 minutes to go until the Kickstarter launches. It's going to happen right here live. So, welcome. Surprise. One more question before I move to character development. Would any of the choices that we would make lock out content that would have to reset the game to be able to actually unlock?
Yes, but not in a way that's going to be devastating to you. Your choices have consequences insofar as, it affects what you're unlocking. So if you behave a certain way, it's going to result in you unlocking things where, the types of things you would learn through exercising that kind of behavior, which would then... there was a divergent path there, and I earned this instead of this. We are exploring some narrative things where it's like, you've befriended this group of people, and so this group of people who's in conflict with them won't let you do their quest. There needs to be stakes to the story. We recognize that is heavy for some players, and so we're trying to find a way to make it not be like, oh, I'm missing out on so much game, but still feel like your choices have consequences on the world. So I think we're gonna kind of keep a foot in both sides of that camp of how far we stretch that.
One of the ways we've been navigating that is just, maybe they don't close them off forever, but you have to really work now to get back.
We're also, not opposed to having things get closed off if the story really calls for it. Like, at a certain point, for a story to be meaningful, you have to have the guts for it to have meaning. And, so we will probably do that at crucial junctures in the story. But it's not a huge part of the game where, like, everything you do is this grueling choice and you want to, like, open all the packs so you can see what your choice was going to be, and, so it will happen, but it's not a huge feature of the game.
Okay, Tom and Mark are going to go start grabbing a couple things that they need to get ready to actually launch. So I'm going to go in here with a couple of more questions that don't require their insight. So first off, there's people already jockeying in the comments for who's going to be backer number one. I mean, couldn't we come up with a prize? Shouldn't there be a backer number one prize?
All expense paid trip to Orange Nebula HQ.
Ooh, I like that. We'll tell Mark that that's what we decided.
Yeah. Have that video you can throw too.
Okay.
You can film a documentary.
Okay. I think that's a good idea. Let's take just a second. We have some of the documentary videos that you've been seeing little pieces of, and to be honest, I really need to relieve my bladder. So we're gonna play that so that we can all
a real human
manage our bodily liquids and come back for the last few minutes. Okay, Justin, you got that ready? Let's roll a little bit more of the documentary.
And the rest of Orange Nebula on this thing. It's an experience, and it mimics the theme of the game too.
Working with a group of people on something that you all feel so personally invested in it's a really different type of experience, because it's just a very intimate thing. Everyone has their guards down because they're putting so much of their personal self into it. So all the things that people are experiencing in their lives, relationships with partners, things with their kids, health scares, all of that is so much more on the surface just because of the nature of the headspace that we're in together.
It's like you're on your own personal growth journey, just making this game, let alone playing it,
It's hard to be proud of doing things that are easy. Tied really closely with that is the principle of always trying something risky and difficult and not trying to create a conveyor belt that removes the hard work of doing something worth doing.
Our job is to really understand the heart and intent of the project, to know the game, not in its mechanics at first, but in its spirit and soul and personality. Once you know the soul of the game starts telling you what's right. And if everyone's subjective opinions and tastes are constantly in charge, then you can just go in circles forever. But if the game is in charge and you've all agreed on what the soul of that game is, then you can usually find where you're supposed to go much more easily.
You're taking this challenge, and it has to be something that you can do over and over again, not get bored, feel like you've accomplished something. Spiritfire, for a good majority of it, is a single-player game, and it's almost like creating mechanics that where the game itself is your opponent and it's playing back on you.
You don't always need complexity. Sometimes you just need some simple mechanics that integrate with each other, and that can exponentially increase the variables for how people make choices. You do want to attract as many people as you can. People who like to play aggressively and people who are maybe a little more passive, and some people just want to have fun. They don't want to be competitive at all. Maybe there's a way to make a game that invites as many of those people as possible.
And make it as personal and as specific as possible in the kind of symbols and metaphors that I put into the artwork. And it seems that paradoxically, the more you go in and the more you make it specific to yourself, the more it is relatable to other people, and the more they see themselves and their own experiences in that. And I want to bring that to this space. I think that art is something that we can find everywhere. You can find it in a gallery, you can find it on your table, and I want to bring those symbols and those experiences to people.
All right, bladders restored, bodily liquids
So
are
proud.
balanced.
Biological.
Mark and Tom are getting things
Chris
ready.
is-
What'd she say?
She's cringing.
Oh, too
terribly
bad.
About your bodily function.
Too bad. Cringe away. Okay, I had a couple of questions in here about realm packs. As we continue to develop and release more realm packs, Malia, can you tell me about the logistics of how we're going to do that? Is it only going to be on Kickstarters? How else are we going to release realm packs?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So for sure during campaigns, but more specifically also during these wormhole events is when we do all of our major releases and announcements. So we in the future will be releasing other additional realms and personal quest packs and other cool stuff in wormholes.
Okay, Tom, now that you're back, I have a question for you. Let's talk about character creation for just a second. How long is character setup? Is there character setup? Are there classes? Or do we just go right in and start playing and develop our character as we go?
There is a character creation process that is sort of a mix of activities. You will take what is sort of like a almost like a personality test, and it will then sort of direct you to pools of cards that says, based on these things that you're saying about yourself, these pools of cards feel most like you, and then you draft from those, and those areas are a little more, you lead not with card choice, you lead with expression of self, and then the game tells you, oh, well, that feels like these cards. And then you're going to get to supplement that with a little more direct, gamey, and then here's just a bunch of cards, which ones are you going to draft? So it's not just, so you have agency, but I would say that the actual character creation process, as it currently stands, is probably like a 15 to 20 minute activity. Does that seem right to you, Jared? and we're still fussing with that because, like we said earlier on the show, half this office at least is, big pen and paper role players, and there is a real instinct to dig into the character creation process and make it very involved. So we are actively exploring making that more and more of a bigger part of the experience. I will say that the thing that we're being, enigmatic about with the end game and what happens when you start a new character and what this passing of wisdom to new characters looks like, will affect the character creation process. So when you're making subsequent characters, that process is different than it was the time before, and will continue to be different in surprising ways. So making a character will be fun. It is not just some rote cursory thing that you do before you get to the fun part of playing the game.
I'm sorry, but is anybody else just starting to get sweaty
Yes,
and a
okay,
little
that's so
shaky?
funny. I literally was 7 minutes. And also
even-
Mark's not back, and so that kind of stresses me out a little bit.
Julie over
It's
here.
like everything's just broken, but he's got it.
Julie over here is saying trying to be backer number 1 is stressing me out. Maybe that. And when you were gone, we were like, shouldn't there be a prize for backer number 1? Listen, what we said, it's not a promise. We're not saying you're actually going to get to come to O-Neb HQ, but wouldn't it be cool if we could
Yeah, so
have
we
a prize?
So we basically
Okay.
promised everybody that.
I
There
didn't
will
promise
full
it.
on be a prize for backer number 1.
Okay.
I don't know what it is,
Aw.
but it is happening.
Julie is stressed out though because then she's like, "What about everyone in the first 30 minutes? Because how are you gonna only one person and we're all trying so
This
hard."
is the ultimate early bird, a process that we're really not fans of.
But I kind of appreciate her
But
dedication.
there's something fun about backer 1, so there will be a prize.
The prize is employment.
Welcome. No, the prize will be a small, cute, no big deal thing that if you don't get it, your life will be 100% unaffected. If you do get it, you will have a trinket that you will remember fondly.
I'm just so nervous. It's fine. I'm doing great. I'm nervous for everyone who wants to be number 1 and all the people who won't.
I
get
regret
it.
nothing. This is fun. I'm sorry about all the emails you're going to get and the things that I've done. But
I love that you're giving me a public apology, though.
I owe you many public apologies.
Noted.
Yeah.
See, everyone else is like, "Great, now my pulse is raised by 100."
All right, maybe I regret it a little.
I know, me
but
too.
I have to stick to it. So
I know,
it's happening.
it's fine.
And here we go.
It is what it is.
Tom, I'm mentally prepared to be cursing your name here soon.
Plugging in. I'm not trusting my Wi-Fi speed. Ethernet is the way.
Ethernet is the way. I wish Mark was here and not,
Mark's trying to be backer 1. He's just not there.
Mark's trying to what?
Welcome.
Okay,
I
I'm
promised
glad
a
you're here.
prize to backer number 1.
Sorry.
Yeah.
First.
Okay, so with you sitting here, one of the last questions I want to explore is, Patrick brought this up again, just the fact that you have talked a lot in some of the promotional content about how you feel like this game is the game that you were born to make, that this is such an personally impactful project.
Mm-hmm.
So can you kind of tell me about what it's been like, what's the journey been like, and why is this so important to you?
I mean, part of what makes it so personal is just how vulnerable we've been willing to get in making it. I said we're willing to take the game to a heavy place and we're willing to get emotional with some of the content in the game. And just going there in general makes it feel so real and true to us because we are just putting everything out there of ourselves. And the experience has been one of feeling exposed. Did we watch the little
Yes.
thing? So I think I talk in that clip about well, I don't want to now just say it again, but that when you are in this vulnerable place working with a group of people, things come to the surface. And so the experience that we have in the office is one of exposure to each other and vulnerability, which then can lead to more conflict than there's been in the past, or heavier conversations than there's been in the past, or things will come up for people and then we have to talk through them, and not in a you should be concerned about us way, but in a way where we're having very real experiences with each other that transcend what you would normally expect in the workplace. And it has been cathartic and it has been meaningful, and I really feel like that it will be felt in the experience of the game because we are pouring our hearts into it. Mark.
This is what we're doing with our life and our career. This is what we have to show for our creative, our creative life and our creative living, and what we want to share with other people and what we're modeling for our kids and everything else. So we put everything into it. So it is. I mean, this is, I'm not 20 years old anymore. Like we're going for it. I'm going for it. And we want it to resonate with as many people as possible. And we dot the I's and we cross the T's, and it does seem like it's bigger than all of us, but I really think people are going to enjoy it. I mean, I really do. It won't be a game for everybody. That's fine. I think people are going to see this as a little different than what they're used to.
Mm-hmm. So we want to, I don't know, did we talk to you about this?
What?
We have... Did we talk to you about the thing that I'm thinking of? We have 2 minutes left. We want to bring the whole rest of the team out.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
And show off everyone before the campaign
Let's
launches.
do it.
Okay, squeeze.
Bring them in.
Gonna get cozy.
And we'll let Lacey introduce everybody.
It's dangerous.
What do you want?
That person.
Should I squeeze onto your couch?
Yeah.
Get 3 to a couch? Weeks right here.
Come on down.
We practice.
This is like the real live launch happening.
Don't be
right
afraid.
now. I should get my feet
Yeah, I
off
was
the
like,
couch.
come on.
I know, I got big boobs.
We have a minute, less than minute
Just you and
30.
me on one couch. It's like
not
everybody on
stressed.
that one, and then
Like Mark actually
Where's Kevin?
has the computer open that
Yeah, where's Wesley? And
Unsquishy. We need
to
more
go
people on
live
that
on our
couch.
launch here.
Oh, there's
I'm gonna
Kevin.
kind of
Wesley.
come on in.
We need more people in that frame.
Oh, well, there's
Just
so
saying.
much couch space.
Oh, I got adrenaline pumping.
Mom sent me back.
Oh, now I'm on the floor.
Welcome.
That's all right.
Hey,
And I
guys.
was also here the whole
Hey
time.
guys, it's Derek.
Less
Derek,
than
say
a minute. Oh
Derek's
my
here,
gosh,
everyone.
who?
Derek.
Derek's hitting the
Derek's
button.
here.
Mark's hitting the
Derek's behind
button.
the
Yes, Mark's hitting the button. So, I'm super
it
grateful to have
Oh,
us.
shoot.
Okay, let me get my face in here properly. Sorry, Malia. I'm super grateful to have everybody on the couch here. I think that anytime that a group of people is willing to create a project where the theme is who could you be, that it's impossible for us not to all look at ourselves and at each other and see who we could be. And so being able to have a bit of a culmination here of us all together launching this with the rest of the community, we feel very grateful, and I've got all the goosebumps! Where's my burrito?
It's on the floor.
Also, Justin's not in frame, but we also have 2 seconds. Hit the button!
Who's number 1?
Where's the button?
How scared are you right now, Mark?
Mark?
He's live.
Congrats. We appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for being here.
It says 188 back.
Yeah!
Does it? Is that what it says? Oh no, that's how many weed back. I'm sorry, I just spit burrito on you. That's how many weed back. Forgive me. Let's see here.
Let's wait.
God, this is
Okay.
terrifying.
She spat burrito on me.
I'm sorry I
Celebration.
I'm sorry I spit burrito on you. You gotta forgive me.
Wide angle.
You gotta forgive me though.
Yay!
We're at 82.
Oh, yay, thank you.
So do we have any
Closing questions?
questions?
Closing questions?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah, go
questions.
back.
You want me to ask some more questions?
No,
Yeah,
just
I
see-
think we've
see
got
if
about
people
5
have
more minutes, and then we'll have to run and do our jobs.
Okay,
that
let's
crazy?
see here. People still
Say,
watching
I'm happy the
because-
site didn't
that would
crash.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous. The
It's
Wait, did the website survive?
website survived the whole time.
Website!
Yay, Derek!
Try harder next time, guys.
Didn't get it.
Wow.
Come on.
He's calling him out now.
Come on.
Didn't you get the memo?
What memo?
Space is hard.
Space is hard. Try not to die. Websites are hard. Try not to die.
Yes.
Or pull all your hair out, which is why, I got to be short on top.
There's a question about size. Can somebody show how big you think Spirit Fire
We
is
have
gonna be?
one.
I was gonna say,
Grab
go
the
get the
box.
Go get the
Get
real
the box.
The real
Get
thing.
the box.
You a
I
ball.
Line in the box.
I thought they wanted to know the size of our team.
This is Sean.
They just
Hello. Mark and I made the game together.
I like it.
Oh my god, this
Oh
is
my
too good.
gosh. That's a
We
good
could share the story of how we came to know Sean.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because that's always a
my
fun
word.
story.
Wait, this is cool.
Oh, yeah, let's do this. That's how big it is.
There we go.
That
Wait.
big.
So big it goes
yeah.
off screen. Can we
Yeah.
do
Get it back in.
My bad. Oh, wrong way.
Closer,
Everything's
closer.
back.
Your left.
There we go.
That's the
I gotta hand it to
character
the
box.
pros. I sit behind the. I'm the computer.
That's the character box.
And then on camera 1, J-Pop, it is a realm box. It's about the size of a
Hand model
commander
lesson.
deck, if you're a magic person.
I
Okay,
have a magic
so that's the size of the box. How'd we meet Sean? Somebody was stealing his
Catalytic
catalytic
converter.
converter.
I think,
Outside our office.
Derek, you tell the story the best.
Well, so Kevin and I were here and we just heard this grinding, cutting noise. We're like, that's weird. There's construction going on across the street. Expected. And so we go out there, we look, and there's somebody underneath this minivan, and the minivan's all propped up. We're like, all right.
And it was me.
Something's wrong. Yeah, it was Sean. He was stealing his own converter because he wanted a job. He knew this was the best way to get it. And so anyway,
Sorry for me.
we chase him off. We call the cops, do all that sort of stuff. And then Sean appears, and we're like, hey, we caught the guy. I think your catalytic converter was just like hanging by a thread, right? And so we were able to get you a tow truck and that sort of stuff. But while we were waiting in the office, and we got to talking about how you do motion graphics, and you're a fantastic designer. And then, lo and behold, through me introducing him to the O-Neb team and the guys, here he is today on the couch. So, moral of the story is, if you want a job, get your catalytic converter stolen in the right spot, be the right place, right time.
Yeah, and I
Mine
want
got
to say
stolen,
that
but nothing
Derek
good
offered
happened.
me and my girlfriend to stay in the office out of the kindness of his heart. Like, it was totally unwarranted, just pure.
I didn't get
insincerity.
big murder vibes from you, so that was my main thing.
Great.
Murder vibes.
murder bus.
I just had someone say, "Stop eating on camera, please," and I must say, it's never gonna happen. Never.
Oh,
It'll
man,
never
you don't know Lacey J
happen.
if that's the case.
It'll never happen.
Whoa.
Aw.
Focus.
Is our flicker gonna be something, the flicker card where you're drawing on it? Are those dry erase, or do we just have a big stack of them?
Both.
Both. What's that for us?
Oh.
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Come on.
Climbing through the forest.
Somebody asking, where is O-Neb located? We are in Vancouver, Washington. That is right across the river from Portland, Oregon. Okay, let's see. Let me see how many backers we're at here. Anybody else got last minute questions? I can go back to the other questions that are from Discord too. Almost 400 backers so far. 393.
Nice.
Okay.
Wow.
You love to
Let's
see
go.
If there are any last minute potent questions, let's hit them. Other than
Okay.
that, let's go join people in the comments on Kickstarter.
Okay,
Absolutely.
last question as we are starting this this campaign. Where does our story start in Spiritfire? Are we born yesterday? Are we how are we who are we when we are starting our story as a character in Spiritfire?
That is left sort of deliberately hazy for you to sort of fill in the blank. You have had a life before, but you have had a sort of awakening, whether that is a spiritual awakening or just a psychological awakening, and from what and why is part of the character creation process and just the own story you tell yourself as you play.
Yep.
But you're not an infant. You are a capable human who has object permanence and does
Speak
things.
for yourself.
Speak for yourself.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna all go be capable humans with object permanence and so forth. So we're gonna be in the comment section of the Kickstarter today. We'll be in our Discord, and we're excited to see you. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. Mwah.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.